Hello, and welcome to another Rouge unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the 40M Turan Run light tank available exclusively to the 1st Hungarian Cavalry Division. The 40M Turan Run would first enter into Hungarian production in late 1941. It was actually based off Czech prototype designs such as the T-21 and T-22. The major difference being a removal of the Czech 47mm and replacing it with a Hungarian 40mm and increasing the armour from 30mm to 50mm on the front. It produced just under 300 of these Mark 1 models, that'd be Mark 2 and Mark 3, but that's a story for another day. And they wouldn't actually enter into frontline service till roughly 43-44 of the 1st and 2nd Hungarian Armour Divisions, as well as the 1st Hungarian Cavalry Division. Now you may guess, with 43 and 44, these things didn't perform all that well. The Soviets had T-34s and IS tanks at this point, and they pretty much beat out these more earlier light tank models pretty much right off the battlefield. So it may seem a little bit silly for the Hungarians to begin with to send these tanks off to the front line, as so undergunned and under-armoured compared to the Soviet counterparts. But you gotta realise it from the Hungarian perspective. The Germans didn't have enough panzers for their own panzer forces, let alone to give them to the Allies. So they had to make do with what they got. The Hungarians didn't have a massive tank industry, unlike the other powers, so they couldn't produce more up-to-date modern tanks. It was a real pain in the ass. The same thing happened with Italy. So they had to stick with a simple-to-build cheap tank design, such as the 40M, especially with the riveted armour, which doesn't fare all that well in actual combat as it causes more spalling, but it's much easier to actually produce said tank. In-game, the 40M Turan Run is a 30-point light tank available exclusively to the 1st Lovass Division, and it has 2 weapons. So you got the 40mm cannon with a lot of AP shells and not as many high explosive shells. It's a pretty good cannon with 65mm of armor penetration, but its main claim to fame is its 17 rounds a minute fire rate, which is a lot of fire. And also you have 2 machine guns. In terms of armor layout, you got 50mm on the front, strong top armor, 25mm on the side and on the back. And pop down to the miscellaneous stats, it goes 29km off-road, 45km on the road, very bad stealth and very low optics capability. In battle, the 40M Turan Run is a pretty awesome light tank. Honestly, I'd probably say it's the best light tank in the entire game, and that's really due to one simple thing. It shoots really fast. 17 rounds a minute is crazy fast for a 40mm AT gun with 65mm of penetration. Of course, you don't want to be using this thing to fight IS-2s 1v1 at 2,000 meters. That would be a little bit silly, but this thing really shines in close quarters engagements, as you can usually get 2 shots off compared to the 1 shot that a T-34-76 can get off at you. And that's a lot of shots going off, I got to admit. And also, they're so cheap, you're going to be getting lots of them, so you really want to have them in, packs of 3 to 4, 6, heck 12 if you're feeling a little bit frisky. And then those huge number blobs, they just work fantastically, as even if you're facing a more heavily armoured tank, you can still cause critical hits at close range, and those might as well just be enough to knock out a tank sometimes, or just disable it entirely. I do find this thing works pretty well against like T-34-76s and other light medium tanks that the Soviets have, but I do tend to have problems, especially with Shermans and T-34-45s, KVs, etc. Especially Shermans. And that's really just due to the fact the Shermans have the 50 cal, which does a little bit of extra suppressive damage, and it has that stabilized 75mm gun, which can usually get the shot off first at close range compared to your Turans. And that's really the big issue that I have with these tanks. It's just fighting against Shermans, and the 100mm armor is usually just enough to bounce off the majority of the shells that the Turans get. But you got a lot of them. I mean, especially when you get into C phase, that's 24 per card. You want to be getting these unvetted most of the time as well, for obvious reasons. Quantity is a quality of its own, especially with these things. But yeah, they're really cool. They're fun tanks, and they really play into like the cavalry nature that the 1st Hungarian Cavalry Division plays. as you're using these to break into weakly defended areas, flank around, get in close quarters, and just charge the enemy. And if you lose some, who cares? They're 30 points. You got another 20 rating back at base. And well, I'm gonna leave it off at that. This has been another Ring Rouge Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as usual, please just take it easy.